Well, you know how I feel about the whole. I have this weird thing about leaving reviews for business, especially if it's a bad review, because something could have happened and I got a bad experience and it was a one-off. How about the delivery guy that got lost that time to bring us the food, right, from one of the restaurants? And I gave that restaurant a 5-star review not too long ago.
We're going to talk about that real quick in a few minutes. And we're back to the comedy train, otherwise known as Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Hey, Waleed.
What's up, Jessica?
Good. I am exhausted, right? So normally...
You're exhausted.
Normally, we do our regular work thing and we carve out time to make sure we have some good information to share with the people out in Commerce and Chill land. Well, today we've been dealing with some extra stuff. And I don't even like the word stuff, but that's the only word I can use to describe the nonsense that we've had to deal with today.
And yesterday.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is we got a call from a client. The client had some concerns and asked that we address them. Cool in the gang, right? Who wouldn't address a client concern? What we did is we jumped in the car, we got on the highway and headed straight to the client's office where we sat and we waited. And then we met with the client's CEO. We met with the client's head of security. Why? Because we work in security, right? But it wasn't like a happy holidays kind of call. This was like, yo, somebody messed up. What you gonna do? And all in all, out of all the outcomes we could have had, I think it was a productive meeting because number one, we were responsive. Number two, we were timely. And number three, we dealt with the situation as quickly as we can. Like right there on the scene, we're like, we got this, boom. And it made me think about the world of reviews and getting feedback from clients or customers and how we deal with it. More often, as we shift to e-commerce, you get a lot more feedback from your clients and customers online.
100%.
And many times that might be in the form of online reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yelp, Google.
As people who have
Seamless,
businesses with online profiles, sometimes we get
Facebook,
some very disturbing, I would say, online reviews, because sometimes the reviews don't necessarily reflect the quality of the service or product that we give, nor do they accurately portray the experience that we want someone to have when they interface with any of our businesses. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Some of them would just be like, just off the chain.
You know what they say, if you get something wrong, 8 people will tell 8 other people. If you get something right, you'll be lucky if someone tells 3 other people. And so today we want to talk about dealing with online reviews. And in particular, how do you handle your online critics? Why are you giggling, Toe?
You're looking at me like, how do you handle online reviews?
Well,
I think I'm getting set up here.
No. The reason I say that and I look at you is because you are so much better at dealing with the online responses than I am.
Oh, thanks. I thought you were going to say something else.
What do you think I was going to say?
I don't know, but I'm just like, I thought you were going to say something else. But cool.
So let's tell folks out in Commerce and Chill land, let's help set the stage. Like, why should you even respond to your online critics?
Well, it depends, because when you say online reviews, we talking about good ones and bad ones, or you just talking about why we should respond to the bad ones?
Both good and bad.
Yeah. So I think you should respond, because it shows in the most basic sense, it shows that you care about what your clients or customers or someone who had an experience with your business thinks. That's the most simplest, rudimentary. I said that wrong.
That's all right. You were close enough.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody get Webster's out here. We know, the pronunciation piece in Webster's on Google. You press a button, it says that word. So, yeah, it shows that you care. Like, it really kind of, I don't want to say disturbs me, but it kind of bothers me a little bit, a lot. When I see reviews from businesses, good or bad, online, for like businesses we use, like whether it's foods, whatever, and then they don't respond to their reviews. It's right up there like not responding to the comments, like when your Instagram or your Facebook. Like it so bothers me. Yeah.
So like at the soapbox, when you get a review, good, bad, or indifferent, how do you know it's legit versus a bot or or just a hater? How do you know it's not a competitor?
It could be a competitor. It could be a hater.
A former employee.
It could be a bot. It could be a former employee. Like sometimes you don't know, but then other times you know. So depending on, and we're talking like small, mid-sized business. If you're in tune with your business and somebody leaves a review, you kind of going to know right away when you read it. And you probably going to know like, oh, shoot, that's missed. Because, they don't always use their name. They'll put it on Yelp and create a different name. Some people have it actually under their name, or they put, their username or nickname. Respect. But some people will go create an account right then and there and leave you a review. So I always look too and see how many reviews that person has left. Like Google, you can do it. Yelp, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. And you can see how long they've been on that platform. So if they haven't been on that long, I kind of be like, But it could be it could go either way, because I've known of people who create an account right then and there because their experience was so good that they wanted to write a review. And then I've seen the other side of it where they create an account because their experience was bad and they wanted to leave a review. So you kind of know, but at the end of the day, you're not going to know 100%. Because there are ways for people just to leave anonymous reviews. But I still look at every one of them and I reply to every one of them.
I would say that if you are leaving a review or a comment, don't be anonymous. Right? Because as an end user, not even as a business owner, not as an entrepreneur, service provider, just stand by what you have to say. Right? If you were to go to your bank and your bank messed up, would you reply anonymous? If you intended to continue using that bank and you wanted to see an improvement? Yeah,
I mean, I think, you know how I feel about the whole, I have this weird thing about leaving reviews for business, especially if it's a bad review, because something could have happened and I got a bad experience and it was a one-off. How about the delivery guy that got lost that time to bring us the food, right? From one of the restaurants. And I gave that restaurant a 5-star review not too long ago.
We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
But dude got lost. So sometimes, like, you got to think about, before I leave this review for the business, how did this mistake or this bad experience actually happen? Was it really their fault, or was it just like a one-off thing, or it's something that was kind of out of their control? Like, you go there and the person at the counter you order food is mad rude to you, like throws your food down and stuff like that. That's kind of like there's a restaurant we go to sometime and we
extra
joke.
Side of rude
and we always say, oh, when we order the food, I wonder if we're going to get an extra side of rude today.
Yes.
Mind you, I don't go there that often, but when we do go, like it's a small business of color, and we want to support them. But I'm just like, I kind of don't like rude with my food. It's just like
the two don't go well together.
I'm a ruditarian. I don't eat rude. Like I don't want that with my meal. Like I want to be away from that. So I get it, but my thing is, evaluate what happened before you make that review that could be negative and really hurt that small business. And then two, you want to give depending what happened and how it happened and who's involved. I truly believe you want to educate the business owner about what happened so they can make it right. Like, what about that time back in the day? It was you, D, and myself, and we went to the burger joint. And we would always go there like maybe an hour and a half before they close. And we would sit down and eat because we'd be coming from work.
Late.
And we knew it was close to closing time, but I'm like, it was an hour and a half.
Right.
So you figure we get there, you order the food. It takes them like 15, 30 minutes, let's say 15, 20 minutes to bring us the food. So we got like an hour before they physically lock the doors. But we all know if they lock the doors at 9, like 8:15, they start to clean up. They mopping, they sweeping. Respect. I ain't getting in their way. Like we sit in the corner, they mop and sweep around us. And we know at 9 o'clock, 8:50, 8:45, like we finishing and we trying to get out the door. We ain't trying to hold them. But they would just be like, oh, like it's no more of this, or like you can't order that because we like closed the kitchen. Like it was weird. So, but we got our food, we ate, and I was like, you know what? I could go online and leave them a 1-star review and put it on blast.
Right.
Or I can let the owner know, because the owner wasn't there. I think he owned like 1 or 2 locations. I think he owned 2 of these burger locations, 2 or 3. So I was like, okay, I'm going to email him through their company website and let him know about our experience. He emailed me back, apologized, said, told me how, they were going to speak to the staff, whatever. And then he was like, yeah, when you go there, show this email and you'll get a free meal. Granted, I wasn't going to go there and show the email because I'd be scared somebody do something to my food. But my point was, I let him know what was going on. So the next time we did go, we didn't see that happen. So he addressed it. But I wasn't going to show them the email and be like, yeah, so-and-so said I get a free meal. They'd be like, that's that motherfucker who told on us. Like, I wasn't going to do that. Oh, sorry, you got to beep that out. But yeah, sorry. So
and Waleed is really good about with the reviews, positive and encouraging to help business owners and their operations improve. As a matter of fact, as part of his 30-day small business challenge.
Yeah, I'm behind, so don't be like trying to beat me up in the comments. I got mad stuff I'm about to drop.
On Christmas Day, since we didn't spend any money.
Yup. Wait to see my post about that this week if you haven't already. Last week when you viewed it.
He made his investment in small businesses by leaving online reviews for several of the small businesses that we frequent on a regular basis. And think about that. It doesn't really cost you anything to write a review, to leave a comment. And if it's a positive review or comment, that might be the seed that leads to a fruit that small business owner sees over a long period of time. This may be a relevant stat. Only 15% of buyers said that they wrote a review as often as they consulted one. According to 2019 U.S. research, 60% of shoppers are influenced by online reviews. So think about when you go to purchase something or when you're considering patronizing an establishment, how frequently do you go online and see what other people have to say about that place before you decide if you go there? I know of countless restaurants that we've been prepared to go to, and if they had less than 4 stars, even less than 4.5, we wouldn't go.
Well, it depends. It'd be takeout. Because sometimes you'd be like, oh, let's try this place for takeout. And I'd be like, how many stars they got? And you'd be like, oh, it's like 4.5. Like, it looks good. I'd be like, listen, I'm not trying to experiment. And then I'd be like, oh, what would, we read the most recent reviews. But yeah, so it depends. For sit down, I'll take the chance. But for if we're ordering delivery, not takeout, if we do delivery, then I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't want to try a new spot and it only got like 4 stars or 3.5 to give them a shot. And it's a delivery because I'm like, this thing could go either way. But if we go and do walk-in or takeout, I'll try that because I'm physically there. I can kind of like scope it out versus the driver just shows him like, here's the bag and he runs after we pay. And I open it up and I'm like, this is not what I ordered.
Right. I would dare say on a Johnson Security side, more than 50% of our business we get as a result of referrals or word of mouth.
Yeah, from existing clients.
So that may or may not be a written online review or a written comment, but again, building off of relationships and positive experiences that people have had with our products, our services, our brands, and it's important. Have you ever left a negative comment or review?
Never. I almost wrote one time and I was like, why am I going to spend the energy to write something negative about this business instead of just letting them know what's wrong so they can fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Like you can check it, go on the internet, look, you can check everywhere. If there was a verification symbol you would get for not leaving a negative review, I would have 2 blue checks next to my profile. Double verified for not leaving negative reviews. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying negative reviews aren't warranted.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a different perspective about it, especially being a small business owner and the effects that they could have positively and negatively. And things happen, like mistakes happen, people make mistakes. I'm a firm believer if something happens, within reason, why not give the person or the business the opportunity
to correct it,
to make it right?
Yeah.
Because let's say the owner's not even there. Are they aware of what's going on? And probably somebody's going to be watching this episode and be like, well, they're probably not a good operator if they don't know what's going on. Let me explain something to you. You own a business. You will never know everything that's going on. And if you do, it means you're there every day doing it yourself and you don't own a business. You brought yourself a job. That's what it is. There's a difference between owning a business and being in business. If you ever do the research or you listen, they talk about you should be working on your business instead of working in your business if you want it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to know every single thing. And I'm not saying it's the customers or the client's job to let them know, But if you like the service to a certain degree and something goes wrong, like bring it to their attention. Like you'll be surprised how many business owners, small and medium, I can't speak to these, big entities. I can't talk to that. They want your feedback because they want to get better. They want to keep you happy. They want you to come back because they want to make money, especially now during COVID season. Yeah.
So what can small business owners do to encourage people to give positive reviews and leave positive feedback online?
Well, you should ask your clients to leave you a review. How you do it is important. You don't want to be all like pushy about it and hovering over them. And I don't think you should try and incentivize them to leave reviews either. Because I'll see stuff, people they send out emails, they send out stuff and be like, oh, if you leave us a review, you'll get a discount on your next order. I think, and that goes against some of the terms and the use, whatever they call it, the policies and terms and use of terms of conditions. Thank you.
Usage policy.
On a lot of these review boards like Yelp, Google, it's against the rules to try and incentivize your customers to leave you a review.
Okay.
So I think you should do it genuinely. If someone has a good experience, I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a note in their bag. Let's say if they buy, it's a coffee shop or whatever. You put a little note in their bag that says, thanks for coming. If you enjoyed your experience, leave us a review on Yelp, Google, Facebook, whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think more businesses should ask their clients / customers to leave them a positive review so then it could get more word out about how good your business is.
Got it. And then I think you kind of already talked about that, but here's a quote. I got a lot of notes. Here's a quote from Jeff Bezos. A brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. And that means, well, that can mean a lot of things, but my biggest takeaway from that quote is if there's something that needs to be addressed, then address it. Because even though initially it will be harder to deal with the situation, in the long run, it'll be more fruitful and beneficial for you to have dealt with it than to try to hide it. And the perfect example is with the follow-up to the situation that we had yesterday with the client. We could have easily been like, yeah, okay, we went there, done deal.
Yeah, whatever, we'll let somebody else on the team handle it or we hand it off to whoever.
We could pass the buck and be like, yo, that dude don't work for us no more, right?
Right.
And it was the supervisor's fault, right? No. And the client was very good about holding us accountable.
Yeah,
and calling to follow up. And the easy way out would have just been, well, number one, for us not to address it. But then the second easy way out would have been to send an email and be done.
Right. Versus actually dealing with it face to face, having those conversations.
But then when it was all said and done, after you sent the email, I called to follow up with the client. And there's so much to be said for picking up the phone and making the connection that I'm not going to say it heals all wounds, but
it shows people you care. And that's the most important thing.
There is magic.
Stuff will go wrong. The key thing is you need to understand things will go wrong. Mm-hmm. It's about how you handle them when they go wrong. People are going to expect stuff to go wrong. They don't want it to go wrong on their watch or when you're servicing them. Right. But if it happens, they're more concerned about how you handled it and made them feel when the mistake. You should be looking at mistakes too as an opportunity. Right. Because then if something goes wrong, if somebody screws up on your team or just something happens to go wrong, it's an opportunity for you to really shine and show that client how much you really care about them. Wow, look how much they did to make it right. They went above and beyond. Right. Blah, blah, blah.
But that's the example I gave in a previous episode about the little black book. The little black book that the author kept was not from Millionaire Fastlane. It wasn't about the contacts. It was about mistakes that his business had made and that those were opportunities for him to do better with his clients and customers and to identify opportunities for growth for his overall business operations. So mistakes are an opportunity if you see them for what they are and then deal with it.
I totally agree.
So as we prepare to wrap up, some of the notes that I took from your insights were, in the event that you're dealing with an online review, be it good, bad, or indifferent, that it's best to set up alerts so that you can know what people are saying online on the different platforms, especially on the key ones like Google, Yelp, Facebook, Amazon, if you sell there. You want to acknowledge the customer or the client's remarks. You want to see if you can move it offline, right? Because you don't necessarily want to get into a back and forth.
I've seen it 100 times. I think it's the worst thing to do.
You can't win.
I've seen business owners put, like, they leave them a bad review. Like, I've seen a review somebody put they weren't wearing a mask in the business. Then they went and responded, well, they weren't wearing a mask because of this. And if you're aware of the rules and the laws, and I'm just like, holy smokes.
That's not what that was for.
Yeah.
That's not what it's supposed to do. But if it's a detailed exchange, move it offline. If there was something that was lacking, then address the concern in a timely manner. And to make sure that you're getting a good amount of feedback so that you can continue to improve your products, processes, and services, ask your customers or clients to leave reviews. Don't try to tempt them with promises of discounts or extra goodies, because that might be in violation in some of the terms of in agreements of usage for the different platforms. But solicit feedback, because my mentor used to tell me, boo, a closed mouth don't get fed. If you don't ask for it, you might not get it. And you don't just want to have negative reviews or comments. You want to have a nice breadth and depth of responses so people can get a full range of views of experiences that other people have had with your products, services, and brand.
I would say that's a good summary. I have, 7. I use 7 points when I deal with looking at reviews, good or bad. But you brought up bad reviews, and people should understand a bad review is not the end of the world. And think about this. A bad review could legitimize your business online also. And when I say that, we all know if you go somewhere, you go on Amazon to buy a product, and I'll use Amazon because I look at their reviews when I'm on Amazon. And if you see a product that has all good reviews, all 5 stars, and maybe there's like 15 reviews, you're leery. You're like, how is everything? First of all, there's only 15 of them. You're like, you could easily find 15 people to write a good review for your business if you call your friends up and be like, yo, go online and leave me a review. Or you could sit there and do Espinoza and create a bunch of fake email accounts and then leave yourself a review. Not saying he does that, but we always talk about using email accounts when we want to like keep getting free trials over and over and over again for something before we commit to make sure that product does exactly what we want it to do.
So what's your 7 tips?
So having a bad review can legitimize your business to a certain degree. Somebody sees it online and they're like, wow, look at all these good reviews. And then there's like 1 or 2 bad ones. And they're realistic reviews. Like, don't over panic. So the 7 things I look at, I do and look at before I respond to a review. 1 is you need to get out your feelings. You read the review and then you get all emotional, like, oh, I can't believe they left me a bad review. It was their fault, blah, 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 blah. That's the first thing you do. Get out your feelings, right? The second thing you should do is promptly respond to the review. But you should promptly respond after you take a deep breath. You meditate, you do whatever. You don't just get on and become a keyboard warrior and start rambling off like, no, this is not what really happened. Mr. Jenkins, you and I are perfectly clear that you came in after hours when you were not, blah, blah, blah. Like, you shouldn't do that. So take a deep breath after you get out your feelings. And before you respond, after you take that deep breath, you should investigate what the person is complaining about. So make sure you know everything about it before you respond. Or not everything, the majority of it. And then respond. But you want to respond quickly because you want them to see that you're concerned. And then you want other people who are looking at those reviews to see, wow, this person is really engaged in their business. Even if they get a bad review, they respond. The other thing is you want to take action. So number 3 is you take action. You want to solve the issue that person is having. And we're talking about people who are leaving legit reviews. I'm not talking about your competitors leaving fake reviews and old employees who are pissed off at you, whatever. We're talking about legitimate reviews that are bad. You want to take action. You want to solve that problem for them and make note of it. 4, you want to be polite and professional. No matter what they say, they might curse it in the review or say something like you want to still be polite because you got to be aware somebody else is going to read that, and the next person that reads, wow, they got a 1-star review. Look at this person. They put, I would have gave them 0 if I could, but 1 is the lowest I could go. This place is horrible. And you respond to it professionally. That person that sees it will be like, well, they care. Maybe I'll still give them a try, even though that person gave them 1 star, because they really didn't say why, or like what they said sounds, it sounds a little off, right? 5 would be, don't go back and forwards with them online. Don't get in the back and forwards, the he, she, the tit tat, trying to one them up and see, don't get into a contest like that online. The other thing is, number 6, if the review is legitimately fake, look at the terms and conditions of that platform that they left a review, read them thoroughly and understand them, and then seek to get that review removed. So in a lot of them, it says it's a conflict of interest if an employee leaves a review about the business, because in their terms and conditions, it can only be a customer, someone who's actually used the service, where an employee worked there, so that violates their terms and conditions, and you could have that removed, because that's just someone who just wants to spread, venom. Then the 7th one we talked about is encouraging your customers / clients to leave reviews for you, especially the ones you're crushing it with. Mm-hmm. They're in love with your business. They're an advocate for your business. They're not going to have any problem leaving you a review. And then those good reviews will outweigh the few negative ones you get. That's all I got. Those are my 7 points for dealing with reviews.
So with that being said, we hope we left you some nuggets that you can use to grow your business through addressing online reviews and comments, whether they're negative or positive. Hope you get more positive than negative. And in the spirit of following our own advice, we ask that you give us feedback about what you think about the Commerce and Chill
Thumbs up
podcast.
Subscribe. Yeah, there's some reviews on the podcast. Scroll down right now and look. Somebody put, these people are a joke, and some other stuff. And I responded to them too. And I was like, sorry the episode didn't meet your expectations, but in the future, I hope our episodes will be better and you'll enjoy them. Like, why am I going to spit back venom to him because he gave me venom, right? So yeah, you look, but subscribe, thumbs up.
Give us some feedback, and
Subscribe,
then we'll be sure to respond to you.
Oh, you can't do 5 stars on YouTube. No, thumbs up. Just thumbs up.
We really appreciate
Forward
the
it
time
to your
that
friend.
you spent with
Tell
us.
them to subscribe and thumbs up too.
And hope to see you on a future episode of Commerce and Chill.